What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome to today's episode of Spawn Guides, the series where I cover all of the most common spawns and how they behave on every map in Call of Duty Ghosts for Domination. In today's episode, we're going to be covering another one of the Onslaught DLC maps, and that is Containment. Let's get into it. Alright, so starting it off, as always, if you guys are new to the series and you haven't seen the prelude yet, make sure you go and check that out first because it introduces a base of knowledge that you need to be able to understand exactly what I'm talking about throughout this series. I'll leave you guys an annotation link right here, as well as a link in the description. Okay, so let's bring up the spawn map for Containment. As you can see, it's actually a pretty standard layout. Most of the spawns are just right around the edges of the map, and this is what we've come to expect with most maps in Call of Duty Ghosts. There really aren't very many spawns towards the middle. For the A flag, it's actually really interesting to note that there are only 3 spawns that are specifically attached to the A flag. It will also use the shared spawns that you can see just below it and just above it, but we'll get into those shared spawns in just a little bit. The really interesting thing to note about these spawns is that one player can block all 3 of these spawns by standing in the right position. So it's just really interesting. I don't know why they would create the spawns like this. I would think that they should have a spawn inside that building by the A flag, but they don't. So just keep in mind that these spawns can be blocked relatively easily, and you just have to be aware of that in-game. Moving on to the B flag, as you can see there are 4 spawns that are specifically attached to the B flag. The one on the top left is pretty obvious, it's right up in the top left corner there. The one right next to it on the right hand side, this is one that you kind of have to pay attention to if you're going to be spawning here. This is a spawn that kind of reminds me of one of the A spawns on Strike Zone. There could be enemies right around the corner from you and you'll still spawn here. So be aware when you do spawn here and don't sprint out into the open. I kill so many people that just sprint straight out as soon as they spawn here and they just don't pay attention to their surroundings. So just be aware of that. Now below that spawn, we have one spawn that's kind of towards the middle area of the map. I wouldn't really call it mid-map though. It's just outside the pool hall. This is one where if you spawn here, it either means that your teammates have really pushed up towards C and they're anchoring you forward, or you have enemies that are behind the pool hall and you might want to turn around and try and deal with them. So finally for the B spawns, we have the spawn on the bottom left as far as the pictures go. And this one is actually not very common because as you can see when you spawn, you're looking at a big open area right there. And if there are any enemies within that open area, which is actually a pretty good chunk of the map, then you will not spawn here. So it's not the most common spawn, but it is there, so I thought I would share that with you. Now for the C flag, this is a little bit weird. As you can see, it has a ton of spawns, so I like to sort of separate this in my mind between left spawns and right spawns, and that's how I approach it when I'm trying to predict the spawns for the C flag when I'm pushing towards the C flag. I don't try to predict exactly which spawn point they're going to spawn at. It's more or less, are they going to spawn somewhere on the left side or somewhere on the right side. On the right side, as you're looking at it right now, it would be the left side if you are approaching the C flag. We have this building here, and we have 4 spawns that are either surrounding the building or inside the building. On the left, we have one that's right inside the building, pretty straightforward. On the top right, we have one that isn't very common because like that B spawn, as you can see a huge area of the map when you spawn, so if there's an enemy anywhere in there looking towards your direction, you will not spawn there, so not really common, but it is a spawn point. And then we have 2 spawns that are in the back alley just around the corner from each other. Now on the church side, once again we have 4 spawns. One of them is just outside the church door, and that's towards the middle of the map. Then we have one just around the corner, just inside the church door. And then finally we have the 2 spawns that are way on the left side of the map as you're looking at it right now. One's right in the back corner of the church, and then the other one is actually just outside the church down the stairs, so it's kind of in the gully area, so it's down low. And this one isn't really common. Alright, so finally we have the shared spawns, and on this map we have 3 shared spawns, and they're in kind of a triangular layout right now. There's one between A and B, and this is actually a starting spawn for the A side, whoever spawns at the A side. This one's really common if you hold A and B, but you can spawn there if you only hold B, you can spawn there if you only hold A, and you can also flip to that spawn if for some reason all of your C spawns get blocked, or you get pushed out of the C spawn and you only hold the C flag. Oftentimes you will flip to this spawn way at the other side of the map. Now the spawn on the left and the spawn on the right, these ones both behave kind of in the same way, but they're just on opposite sides of the map. For instance, if you have the A flag and you're pushing up towards the C flag, you could anchor your team spawn up to this gully spawn. And same goes for the B side. If you hold the B flag and you're pushing up towards the C flag on that side of the map, then you can definitely anchor your spawn to that point. And then both go the same way the other way. So if you hold the C flag and you're pushing up on the right side, you could anchor your spawn to the right side. On the left side, you could anchor your spawn to the left side. Alright, so that covers all of the spawn locations. Now it's time to test your guys' knowledge of how the spawns work on this map. In this first situation, the green team holds A and B, and they're pushing up towards the C flag from on the A side of the map. And the red team is just kind of contained within their spawn. Where would a red player spawn right now? I'll give you guys a few seconds to make a decision. If you said any one of these three spawns right here, then you're likely correct. Let's go over why that is. Alright, so first we want to look at which spawns are being blocked off by the green players, because the green players are being quite aggressive here. And as you can see, these three spawns right here are very clearly being blocked by a direct line of sight from a green player. Now there are still a couple spawns available on the right side of the map, but if we look at where the red players are located, they're anchoring the spawn towards the church side of the map because the biggest group of enemies is right here. This is why they're going to spawn at one of these three safe spawns around the church area of the map. Now with the exact same setup, let's just say that this green player right here gets killed. Where will this green player spawn right now? Once again, I'll give you guys a few seconds to make your choice. Did you guys pick this shared spawn right here? If so, you're most likely correct. Let's quickly cover why that is. Well, this one's actually pretty straightforward. If you were to draw a circle around the biggest mass of green players, this is what it would look like. And obviously that spawn is within that circle. Yes, there is this other green player that's on top of the pool hall over here, but he's kind of an outlier at this point. He's not really attached to the big group of enemies. He's not pushing up and anchoring that spawn with them. So he's kind of ignored in the spawn logic for the most part. So really we just want to focus on where the biggest mass of green players is, and that is right here. For the final test, we have a completely new situation. The green team holds A and C, and they're putting a lot of pressure on the red team that only holds B, and they're all kind of pushed right into the pool hall and a little bit behind the pool hall as well. Where would a red player spawn right now? Believe it or not, they would still spawn at one of these two spawns back here, even though there's a lot of pressure being put on them, and there's a green player actually pretty much just around the corner from them. Let's go over why that is. Well, first off, we know the game wants to spawn them at a B spawn, but as you can see, these two B spawns right here are both clearly blocked by a direct line of sight from a green player. Now, even though this green player right here is right around the corner from those spawns, he does not have a direct line of sight on those spawns. So he is not blocking those spawns off by being where he is right now. If he were to peek around that corner a little bit, then yes, he would block those spawns. And in that situation, they would likely flip to either a C spawn or one of those shared spawns in the mid-map area. So this is why I said at the beginning of the video when we were looking at the B spawns, if you spawn at that spawn just around the corner there, just be aware as you come out of spawn because there could be a guy right around the corner from you. So that's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Spawn Guides. If you guys want to see more episodes of this, I will leave you guys a link to the playlist in the description below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.